Hi, welcome to Where Do We Begin? I'm Stacey Hymer and I'll be representing Australia for Taekwondo at the Olympics 2021.
Thanks for that, Stacey. My name is Harper and my co-host, bit of a weird one on this stupendous day, is Lockie Gibbs. How are you, Lockie?
Yeah, that's actually a tough question, Harps. I'm absolutely in a great mood in some respects, but also a bit flat in other that I missed out the opportunity to chat with Stacey, as unfortunately I was working this day, but I'll be clapping the headphones on and listening in as it is an absolute cracker, I am sure.
Oh, yes. I will actually be smacking those headphones on as well because I'll be listening to this again. It's such a good episode. Really enjoyed it. It's a first episode of a big series that you will know about if you've been following our social media pages at WDWB Pod and Where Do We Begin on Facebook, of course. Lockie, tell us about this series, mate.
Yeah, just quietly, it's good to hear you loving your work. And this series, it's the Olympic series. As I'm sure our listeners will know, unless they're living under a rock, they are coming up in July 2021. The Olympics are occurring in Tokyo. And Harpsy Boy and myself had the great opportunity to chat to a couple of Australians representatives at the Olympics. We've got a variety of sports. It's super fun. And so from now and onwards, right up to the start of the Olympics, we'll be having Olympic athletes on the show. It is so awesome to have them on.
You're exactly right. It is so awesome. I'm just really excited to get into this Olympic series and especially this episode with Stacey Hymer. Like Lockie said, it was just me and Stacey on this one. So I reckon we'll just get straight into it. I'll see you guys in the outro where I will tell you all about a new feature of the show, I guess, where our guests will be doing some great things for us on social media. It's going to be awesome. Let's go.
You can never say so too many times, listeners.
All right, now on the show we've had guests come from all over the world, from Netherlands, the US, everywhere, all over Australia, but this one's come from just down the road from the studio. She's an Olympian for Tokyo 2020, so I'm delighted to welcome onto the show Stacey Hymer. How are you, Stacey?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. So, of course, Taekwondo is your sport of choice. So we're having this bit of an Olympic series and got some obscure sports. I think it's fair to say Taekwondo is a bit of an obscure sport compared to your football or anything. So can you kind of explain your sport to all the listeners who don't really know about it?
Yeah. So it's not like your mainstream sport that you see on TV all the time. It's a bit more technical than that. It's a lot using your legs, kicking, and now we've like incorporated punching. So it's using your legs, kicking to the face, scoring on the body, face, and then going in with the punch as well. So a lot of footwork, moving around. Yeah, very technical, as I said. So
yeah, so how do you win, I guess? Is lots of people will probably be very confused by that element when they're watching. So how do you win a bout of Taekwondo?
So you got three rounds, 2 minutes, and you're just trying to score as many points as you can in those rounds. And then at the end of the third round, whoever's got the most amount of scores wins.
Yeah, right. Okay, and is it under 57 kilos weight division? So they've got, 2 or 3 weight divisions in the kind of in the sport, I guess? Yeah,
so there's a few males divisions and female divisions. I'm considered like the featherweight division, under 57. I think there's 5. Is it 5 in total? Oh, I should know this, but yeah, there's under 48, under 53, 57, 63, 67, and then there's the heavyweights.
Yep, right. Yeah. Okay, so we don't want to kind of only get to know about the sport in the series. We kind of want to get to know the person a bit. So Olympians, obviously, especially in sports like Taekwondo, and they're not getting paid the big bucks. I doubt you're a billionaire or a millionaire or anything like it.
No.
So I'm guessing you've got a kind of day job. I know you're at uni as well. So what do you do with yourself aside from training and preparing?
So yeah, uni, I'm doing that part-time, studying 2 subjects. It's food tech and nutrition.
Right.
And
at RMIT?
Yeah, at RMIT. Yeah, so they've been helping so much, like the flexibility and everything, the support that I've been getting from them has been absolutely amazing. considering like I'm traveled around all over the world and they've, sending me assignments or giving me special consideration. So yeah, I've done that. And working on weekends at a cake store in Tullamarine, Eiffel Tower. Yeah, so good there. Love it there.
Want to give a bit of a plug to the place? So why do people want to go there to Eiffel Tower? We'll give them a bit of a shout out on the show.
If you love custard, that's your place to be.
Yeah, all right.
Like custard, everything, but amazing.
Out in Tullamarine. Yep.
Yeah.
So guys, get it on it. Eiffel Tower, cake store, I think it is in Tullamarine. But so you've got that kind of day job, uni, which takes up the majority of your time, I guess. But what I'm really interested in is the kind of training routine of a Taekwondo athlete. So obviously you're training a lot, but what actually goes into your training? What are you doing during those training sessions?
Yeah, so I'll just like in a typical day, I've got strength and conditioning in the morning. Then I've got an individual session with one of my coaches and we'll focus on real technical side of it. We'll get real specific in movements, perfecting our movements really, or working out different scenarios. And then between that and another individual session with my other coach, it's a bit of a break time. So it's like downtime, catch up with uni, catch up with anything else that I need to do. Then individual training again, which is more scenario work, more specific work on tactics. And then we do a group Taekwondo session. And that's just like with bag works, you'll be kicking like 1,000 times a day, or like you'll be going through routines or focusing on like rhythm of the kicks or, speed work.
Right. So I doubt anyone listening knows too much about Taekwondo tactics, but I don't know if you kind of unwilling to give anything away, but if you want to kind of reveal something about your last tactic session, what went into your last tactic session? What kind of things are you focusing on?
Yeah, so yesterday we were focusing on our defense game.
Okay.
So just
what
kind
goes into
of
that?
blocking with your front leg and then kicking with your back leg. So it's like block with the front and the follow-up kick with the back. And then, you can incorporate it with various other kicks, but the first initial movements is always like block with the front, follow with the back, and then you can follow up going to the head or punching or,
Yeah, and I doubt that's kind of something that's specific to you. That's kind of across the whole sport. People do that move, I guess.
Yeah. So it's because now everyone's kind of fights the same in a way. Everyone's got their specific kind of movements, but the same kind of structure where you're going back to those basic movements just to have like that foundation level. So yeah, those movements are very crucial just to have.
Well, what's your strength in terms of Taekwondo? What's your big kind of go-to move or strategy?
Recently, I've been doing a lot of punches.
Okay.
So punches to the chest. They've been scoring quite well. It's got to be clear and like pretty precise. You got to time it really well to make it like, the referees know it's a punch, so you're scoring that. So a punch and just a classic back leg to the body, back leg to the face. I love those ones. Yeah. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Are there any, can you like smack someone in the head in a fight or are there any fouls at all?
Yeah, no, definitely you can smack them to the head and you get 3 points out of it. So
yeah, okay.
That's a good thing to have.
What are you not allowed to do? What would you be pulled up on by? Is it a ref, umpire, whatever?
Yeah, the ref will like give you we call it a kamjang. So it's like a warning.
Yeah.
If you're kicking below the waist, kamjang, so warning, and then the opponent gets a point.
Okay.
Another thing is like if you're like pushing them out of the ring, like you can't be pushing them out of the ring, or if you're just doing incorrect moves with your legs, or if you're putting your leg up without executing a kick, they'll give you a warning.
Okay,
so
right.
It's very specific.
And after a warning, you give away a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think people hopefully starting to kind of get the hang of it. So, but speaking of starting to get the hang of it, how did you get started in Taekwondo? I know there's Team Taekwondo in Coburg. You didn't start there, did you?
No, I didn't. I started at Horse Taekwondo on Moreland Road.
Oh, okay. Right.
I was there when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it my whole life. Yeah. But I kind of just followed my older brother's footsteps, as most people do. They just follow their older siblings. And so, yeah, I was there for a few years until I think I was about 10, 12. We moved to Fighting Lions on Keilor Road. That was good. We followed Paul Lyons. He's been a big inspiration to all of us, which he's now passed, but he still holds his legacy in all of us fighters. And then I moved to Notorious Martial Arts, which is where I'm currently at now. That's like my local club with Ryan Carnelli. He's done his own club, so they're killing it. They're doing really well there. But I'm training with the Australian Institute of Sport down. Yeah, we've got our own little area there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So do most people kind of get into it for fitness or self-defense? What's the main kind of incentive to get into Taekwondo at an early age like you did? Like
Taekwondo you've got so many disciplines to it. You know, it's character building, it's creating strength, you're learning like balance, how to tactical work, as well as like having fun with it. There's a lot of components to it. Self-defense is a big one that a lot of people get into it, but we did it just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Like we loved it since we were 4 years old, getting straight into it, the games of it, the enjoyment of it, but the people around you as well. Like it's a big community. So everyone's looking after each other whilst, smacking each other around, but like you're looking after them.
Yeah. But if I kind of started right now, rocked up to Team Taekwondo and Notorious Martial Arts or whatever, would I be going straight into fights, or would I start off kind of just going at the punching bag or whatever? How do you get started?
They'd probably set you up with someone who's probably similar level to you, like the beginner's level, I would say.
Yeah, definitely at that level.
Yeah, you wouldn't go straight into versing someone that can, knock you around a little bit. I guess you can, but you want to learn from it. You want to understand how the movements of it before you get straight into, say, sparring, where it's like full-on compact, kicking each other around.
Yeah. Okay. So, of course, Olympics coming up this year. This kind of going to be the main gist of our chat, I guess, in this whole Olympic series, Japan. And I've been doing my research. I hear you're very into your international food. Are you looking forward to the Japanese food? Have you been to Japan before? I tried their cuisine.
Yes. I've been to Japan once for a competition that we did in 2019, and that was literally for like 1 week where you're in there doing your competition, you're straight out. But luckily we had 1 day to really get to know the place. You're going to your food places. I ate so much in just that 1 day, just taking it all in, making sure we tried everything, because the place is amazing and I can't wait to go visit them again.
Is there a special dish that you're going to be going back to, kind of looking forward to savouring again when you're back there in a couple months' time? Just
their sushis are like something else. You can get sushis at like 7-Eleven, but they're so good. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, and like every convenience store there, like there's a convenience store at every second shop and they've got like all these different types of sushis.
Yeah.
And like freshly made kind of thing, not like crap 7-Eleven ones. Yeah, they're like, it's just amazing, really.
Actually, I tried ramen there for the first time and that kind of changed my life. I was like, that's it. This is the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah. When did you go there last time? How old were you?
I was 20.
Oh, so that was just last year, was it?
2 years ago now,
okay,
2019.
2 years ago, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't have been last year. Yeah. Probably not too much kind of international Taekwondo going on last year, no. I imagine. So has the last year kind of made you feel less confident or more confident? Because obviously so severely impacted last year. You would have been with hardly any international tournaments, I'm imagining, and just completely different regime for you.
Yeah, so at the start of the year, we started off with a Euro tour where you're on a high, like you're up there, you've got your competitions back to back for a few weeks, so you're still on a high. And then, we were rushed back to Australia, and so you're back here and you're kind of trying to work out what's going on. Are we still training? What are we doing? And so as time progressed, you're slowly going, it's like you're going down in a way, and everything's starting to chill out because you're realizing that you've now got the entire year that it's just nothing. So what do you do with yourself? Yes.
Yeah. So is there, because obviously it was cancelled, 3 months before it was meant to happen, so it didn't leave too much time, but kind of in the days and weeks leading up to the kind of initial postponement around this time last year, did you find yourself at all, or was it hard to not subconsciously kind of have that at the back of your mind and subconsciously put in a bit less effort maybe because you knew it was more than likely not going to happen in 2020?
In a way, yes. Because it was, your end goal is so far, you're kind of just chugging along. But, you have moments where it's you're pushing yourself. And then other moments it's you have relaxed a little bit, whereas if, say, the Olympics was last year, you're just, because I was on a high, you just keep going. Whereas now it was just, a bit longer journey. But in a way, I've benefited from it so much. I've been able to learn from it, train more, train harder, really dissect it a little bit more, work out different scenarios. I've grown so much in that 1 year. And in a way, I feel so much more prepared than I maybe would have last year. So,
yeah. So in the grand scheme of things, for you just personally, it's a kind of a good thing that it's been postponed.
Yeah. Especially being my first Olympics. I have no idea what I'm about to jump into.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's I've been to various competitions with the exact same people, but it's on a different scale. But it's you just feel better walking into it, knowing that you've had a good process behind you.
Yeah. So kind of going to this Olympics, no doubt you'd probably be pretty nervous the closer and closer you get, really. And you're still rocking up to the local club, I'm guessing, are you?
Yeah.
So that's got to feel a bit weird, though. You're this going to be an Olympian in 2 months' time, and kind of everyone else are just not Olympians, to put it simply. Does that feel a bit weird?
It does in a way, because I've been training with the same guys for years.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden now I've got this title on me. All of a sudden it's people may look at you different, may treat you a bit differently, but still you're still, training amongst the same people you were years and years and years. Yeah. But it's good in a way. I have all these people supporting me, everybody's just building me up. So it's actually really good to, go back to my local club and spar with them, because, all fighters are different fighters in their own way. I'm still learning off them as we're going through. And these are young fighters as well, and, bringing out all these new skills. So tapping into those new skills is so good, so important.
Yeah, so is your kind of prime fighting years, the best fighters, are they kind of late 20s, early 30s age, I'm guessing? Or I don't know, really? What age are they?
You can get some real young ones that are just freaks that come in and, wipe out the whole competition. And it's amazing to see, pat themselves on the back. But for a vast majority, it comes into the mid-20s, I'd say 24, 25, where people say that they're at their best, or,
at their peak kind of thing.
Yeah, their peak. But yeah, you can definitely see sometimes the difference in competition level, the standard or the professionalism of it. The way they conduct themselves around competition is a lot different to, say, myself when I was starting off going into the I'd say the big league of competition overseas. It's very different. But slowly, you're catching up to them. And now I'm starting to feel like, oh, I'm actually at the same level as them now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, here at Where Do We Begin, we do lots of kind of background research on our guests, and I was having a look through your Instagram feed, and you were at some event, I forgot what it was, 2018 or something like that, and there was people congratulating you on like beating an Olympian or something like that, or fighting against an Olympian. So we spoke about it in terms of your kind of teammates' perspective, but do you feel that once these Olympics are over, and maybe even now that you're kind of future Olympian, do you feel there's extra pressure on you because I don't know, this fighter from wherever, Fiji, is going to say, oh, I'm fighting against Stacey, the Olympian. It's kind of very different to just regular Stacey from Coburg, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very different. And still now to this day, like even recent competition, people's expectations and pressures, this is what we call it, just that constant external kind of things around you. Yeah, they're always going to put a bit of a negative light on it. But yeah, it's always good because it kind of drives you in a way. It's like you still want to be on top. Like you got to train hard to you're still earning that position. You're still there to train and to hold that title or whoever. But, for a young person to come up, it's good for them to have that hunger to fight someone good. And then even if they were to win against that person, it's just it's like a confidence kind of thing in a way, but it's a learning thing in a way as well. So
yeah, okay. So yeah, I can't imagine what that kind of weight on your shoulders would feel like coming in. Are you feeling that now? Do you feel it? Is it kind of something that you're nervous for the future, or are you kind of nervous about that right now as we speak?
Like I was nervous about it a few weeks ago, where you kind of get the news of all the realization of everything of, oh my God, I'm going to the Olympics. And then you're kind of putting that in perspective and, you're starting to feel those pressures and, it's always like, oh, I'm fine. And then deep down, it's like, hold on, like I'm freaking out here.
Yeah.
So the last few weeks, it's all about being, that mental strength and that building yourself up again to be like, it's just a competition. Like, who cares? Just go in there, your stuff, fight hard, fight good, and the outcome will be whatever it is.
Do you get extra support from, I don't know, someone from the AOC or something because of those pressures, or is it just the people that have been supporting you the whole time supporting you now?
Yeah, so I've always had a big support network. Like I've always been able to tap into somebody and get their advice.
Yeah.
And, it's been important people like my coaches or, I've got my family who's also big in fighting, so I can tap into them. And, so yes, that good support network around me has always helped me throughout the coming years. Just recently, I've now started to seek a bit more professional help where it's like I've gone into seeing a sports psych. So just recently, this is a new thing to me as well. So getting their perspective as well has been a bit of an eye-opener because a lot of the time they highlight things and it's like, oh, I already know these things. It's like, of course. But
what kind of things have they highlighted that you've taken on board?
It's like focusing in on certain strengths in training and then at competitions, like distinguishing the difference between them, analysing it, thinking about it, and then, being aware of like certain things around you. And then you kind of go, oh yeah, that's the pennies drop. Like, of course this will happen. Or you just have that big realisation moments.
Yeah. But kind of in terms of like the Australian Olympic, Commission, the AOC, do they offer wellbeing services for themselves, or I don't know about now, but do you know if during the Olympics they do, or now even?
Yeah, so I have a wellbeing lady.
Okay.
And she's amazing. But that's only just been a recent thing in the coming last year, or in Taekwondo. I'm sure all other sports, they've all had wellbeing persons helping them. But in Taekwondo, we've had a person come in and just to take the load off us in a way. Like if we have any concerns, you know, to do with uni, to do with work, training, anything that's kind of bugging you, they're just helping you come to a solution and, you know, resolve those problems, those little niggling things that you can't seem to do it by yourself.
Yeah, and I know we were speaking before the show about how you listen to the Andy McGrath podcast, because you're a big Essendon fan. He was talking in his episode about him kind of being big on goal setting, and within Essendon they're very big on that, and within the whole AFL, I suppose. So is that something you're very big on as well, kind of goal setting, short-term, mid-term, long-term kind of things? Have you set yourself goals for the Olympics? Yeah.
Like, yes, in a way, and no, in a way. Like I have goals. It's all like I'll jot a few things down. I'll be like, okay, that's something that I want to work on now, and I know in future it's something that's going to come naturally to me, and I'm going to pick it up and be like, I've analysed it, I've taken it apart, and so that's been like my short-term goal of, you know, understanding what I'm doing technically, and then in the long term it's been fighting and then putting that out there, sparring on competition day and executing those kind of little skills and everything that you're building up. So it's always a short-term, long-term kind of back and forth.
Yeah, so you're 43rd in the world at the moment, is that right?
Like I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know 100%.
Right, I had a look. I'm not sure if it's the fully updated version, but I think 43rd for your weight division. So when you hit your peak, what kind of ranking are you wanting to hit? Number one? Do you reckon, is that doable for you? Are you wanting to hit number one?
Like I'd love to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably an end goal that I'd have, say, in the next four years. Not at the moment now. I'm still in that learning phase in a lot of situations. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a kind of big fish in the Taekwondo world that you've beaten before, that maybe a top 10 fighter or anything like that? Or have you only been kind of sparring with people around your kind of level?
Yeah, so I've fought a few international fighters, and some of them have gone to the Olympics, you know, multiple times. One, like in Australia and overseas, and you know, sometimes like I don't even realize that I'm fighting this amazing player until the end of it. I'm like, oh my God, I just fought her, like, and she was really good, you know. Or sometimes I can get freaked out by fighting this player who's got all these titles behind them, and that kind of puts you in a little bit of a bad situation before going to fight. Like, you don't want that. You don't want to put yourself in those situations. But yeah, I've fought some good fighters, won against them, and it's put things in a perspective in a way. It's like, okay, she's a good fighter. I've just bet her. I must be a good fighter. Like, I'm at that skill level. What's the next competition? Who else can I beat? You know, just trying to climb yourself up, fight way through.
Yeah. Do you know, just for the kind of listeners who might be interested in the event, watching it, who are the kind of favourites to get amongst the kind of gold medal group, I guess, in the upcoming Olympics?
I'll do it by country because I can't remember all their names off by heart. But the UK, she's the number one.
Yeah.
And then you've got Korea, you've got China, Turkey, and Russia. They're pretty much in the top 10. They're all weapons. But it'll be exciting, and I am excited to go fight these fighters because they're such good fighters. I love fighting off good people, and you're just building that up, and it's like, and then you can take that away and then be like, wow, she did that well. I want to learn how to do that well as well. Like, you're kind of learning off their skills.
Yeah, but what's the kind of main skills that you have taken on board watching those amazing fighters?
Like, I remember fighting this one girl from Russia. She was amazing. She's got really good, the way she uses her legs, they're like baseball bats coming down, knocking you out. Like, I definitely felt some of her kicks and I was like, wow, she is good. So you're taking that, but looking at her technique, the way she's doing her kicks, putting her leg up really high, like, or knees to the chest, even her movement where it'll get you and her leg will come around the side and it'll get you straight onto the flank. You know, little things like that make a big difference. So watching back on like videos and watching those kind of fighters is really good just to understand their movements, their way of doing it, and how well it worked.
Yeah,
for them.
and I've looked it up. It's Jade Jones,
Yeah.
number one in the world, and there's Hatis Kubra Ilgun from Turkey as well, number two, and third in the world for your weight division. This is Aryum Lee from South Korea.
Yeah.
But you were talking about that kind of flexibility, getting that knees up to the chest kind of thing. So is yoga a big thing in the Taekwondo community? Because that's obviously massively helps with flexibility. Is that a big thing?
Like for me, I say yes.
Yeah.
I tapped into yoga quite a bit. And when I saw this yoga instructor, and she kind of specialized in martial arts students, where it was all about opening up the hips, but making the hips more flexible. So when I tapped into that, and then I started noticing in training, I can kick my leg higher, I can reach a bit further. So yoga in its ways, in its strength and flexibility has definitely helped me. Yeah.
How often are you doing it?
I don't do it as probably much as I should. I used to do it at least once a week, but
Yeah, okay. So
I wish I did it more.
Yeah. So in an ideal world, you'd be doing it like a couple times a week, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, yoga in its way, I'm stretching at home, and in a way that's kind of like what it is. You're going through the poses, you're holding those poses, and then you're increasing those range of motions. So you're still getting that same kind of formula as I'm going
and
through.
I feel like it doesn't only help physically. I'm not really an expert on this, but it probably really helps in a kind of mindfulness, mental headspace as well. Have you found that when you've been doing your stretching and your yoga, that it's helped your kind of perspective on things, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. Just easing the mind, focusing on like mindfulness. Definitely helps with calming, getting familiar with your surrounding, and then just being more comfortable in certain positions, and then bringing that out. You like going then to training, you're calm, you're ready, your mind's clear, and you're ready to focus, to get in there and to spar and move around.
Yeah. Okay. Now, something that I kind of spoke to a few people and to kind of see what kind of things they'd be interested in from a Taekwondo fighter, and lots of them were interested in the kind of money side of things. So is it just prize money from events that you're getting, and sponsorships as well, I guess? But obviously you've got the day job, but is that where the main source of income from the Taekwondo side of things comes from, the events?
Yeah, like a lot of international events you get prize money. Not all of them.
Okay.
I'd say only the big ones like the Grand Prix, or you get a bit of prize money there. But every other competition is just for self-growth.
Yeah.
Take it back, learn from it, and then move forward on to the next competition. Like you're continuously trying to wind up yourself in a comp, be better, be the best fighter you can be. But yeah, I mean, money-wise, there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
Unless, like in other countries, I say, you can get some big sponsorships coming in, and they'll be looking after you, and you'll be pretty well off for the rest of your life. South
Korea
Korea
being the main one. I'm guessing.
Samsung, I think, is the sponsorship. It's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine Samsung sponsoring you. That's probably not in your wildest dreams, is it?
Yeah.
But I know kind of, I don't know if there was prize money at this event, but you won the gold medal at the Oceania Championships when you were just like 18 or 19. So that's pretty cool title to have, and it must feel pretty nice saying you're the champion of Oceania when you were a teenager.
Yeah, I think I just finished high school, and then the following year, that was the first year that I kind of came back into Taekwondo and being like, oh, this is serious now. I want to go to the Olympics. That was the end goal when I was looking back on it a few years ago, and so Oceania was the first kind of competitions to come up, And because they have such big points because of the rankings and world rankings, they were target competitions that you need to win this. Get your name up there, get your points up there, make yourself on that world title. So
yeah, and I don't know if I'm correct in saying this, but if you won that, you might not be at the. If you hadn't won that, you might not be at the Olympics. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, right. So it's obviously the qualification process is probably a bit different because of COVID. Obviously, is it just world rankings that is the basis of how you get into the Olympics?
Yes, and if you're top 10 for your division, then that's a guaranteed. You're straight in.
Yeah. So, but you had to do like a qualification event, I'm guessing, because you're not top 10.
Yeah. So we had our qualification period over the course of the last 4 years. And so they take into account competitions, your results, who you're versing, your win-loss ratio, all those kind of things, and then like your future prosperity of the sport. So it's quite a hefty process that you got to go through, quite a long process as well. So every competition counts.
Yeah. So how long did the qualification process take for you personally, from the first stage to the final qualification, I'm guessing?
Since I jumped in it back in 2018, it was just straight on. You know,
right. Okay.
that's what it is. You're in there, you got to go for it, and every competition followed. They were onto it.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, kind of setting your sights on qualification for the Olympics when you're a teenager. Like,
I know.
I could not imagine myself at all being in that position. But that's got to be, you're with all your mates at school, and you went to a sports school, I think, Pegs.
Yeah,
it's a very sporty school. But even still, like, you going for the Olympics when you're still in high school, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, like all throughout high school, I was still doing Taekwondo. I did various sports. I mean, I was always involved in sports.
Soccer captain.
Captain. Did soccer, softball, and did very well in those sports. That kind of progressed through, but Taekwondo was always something that I always fell back on. I was always doing it on top of all the other trainings, soccer, whatever it was. And that was kind of like the sport that I chose in the end to really progress through, really put all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah. So how many, are you training every day for that at the moment? Or how many hours a week do you reckon you're putting into Taekwondo? You're very busy with other stuff, I know, but for an Olympic preparation, Olympic year, how much time are you putting into it?
5 days a week. So Monday to Friday. I'd say 2 hour sessions 3 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
except for Mondays, I have 1 session on Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, like, on top of uni, on top of your day job, it's a mountain of work. You wouldn't get too much free time.
No time.
Yeah.
No time at all.
Yeah. Well, very grateful you got to come into the studio today. Because it's just so much better compared to Zoom, and grateful that you came on the podcast at all, really. But now we're kind of going to get to some questions that we're going to ask all our Olympic athletes in this whole series. So, what have been some kind of challenges that you've encountered? Obviously, you're still young in your field, in your sport, but what are some challenges you've encountered getting to this Olympic level over the years?
A lot of it's been, a big part of it's been like a mental side of it, mental battles going through, just keeping a strong mind, tackling, because every competition it's so different. You've got these different feelings, different surroundings, everything. So being comfortable in those situations, like making the uncomfortable comfortable, basically. Yeah. Those have been challenges. Traveling around a lot, there's big challenges. So you're constantly jumping into a new place, training, making sure your weight's okay. Those big challenges. Yeah,
I was actually meant to ask that. I forgot to ask it before, but that's got to be like massive burden keeping the required weight under 57 kilos, your weight division. That's just the commitment to stay at that level's got to be massive.
Yeah, so you're trying to like right now it's a lifestyle. Like I've managed to maintain my weight at 57 and still maintain the strength and power that comes with it. That was been a big important factor. So dropping weight previously, like before competitions, you don't want to lose your strength, but you're slowly losing, like you say, your muscle mass or a bit of fat here and there. But yeah, just trying to keep that weight down and hold on to that strength has been very important.
Yeah, and I'm guessing if you hit 57.1 kilos, or you're just gone. Yeah, you're disqualified straight away.
Disqualified.
Yeah, geez, that's the pressure of that is massive. And diet, I'm guessing, has got to be a huge thing. I know it's probably in stark contrast. Your first 3 Instagram posts, first one's got some sausage rolls in it. Second one's very nice looking gelato, and the third one's this big burger. So I'm guessing you're not eating lots of gelatos and burgers in the recent months, especially. So what's your diet looking like at the moment? Very strict, I'm guessing.
I had a very balanced, healthy diet all day, every week, day in, day out. I'm eating good foods. But when I want to enjoy my food, say like your burgers and ice cream, because they happen to be my go-to quite often, I indulge so much. Like I'm a big eater. I eat so much food, and I love, like, my chocolate is my kryptonite. I will literally sit down and eat a block of chocolate at night if I could. And sometimes I do. But, you back it up with a bit of eggs on the side and whatever for breakfast and, good training. But you're always looking after your body after training, eating the proper foods after training, getting those proteins in just to help your muscles and, good rest, or everything's very on top of it all. But again, when the weekend comes or when I want to go out and indulge, I 100% will overindulge. I love that feeling of fullness.
Well, what's the kind of go-to healthy food when you feel a bit guilty that you've eaten a bit too unhealthily? What's your thing to kind of get you back on track? Is that a really healthy thing that you've incorporated?
Falafels.
Falafels?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're big in Coburg, aren't they? Lots of falafel places around.
They definitely are.
Yeah, love them. Yeah, really, really great. But kind of some more, I guess, kind of quick fire questions they were asking to all these Olympian guests. So personal strengths, aside from Taekwondo, what do you reckon are your big personal strengths looking at it from your own perspective?
Organisation. Very organised in literally everything that I do. I think I have to be, and I think it's a very big, important aspect in life. Like, you just got to be organised. And then balance. Balance is a big thing for me in terms of training, social side, food, everything. I've always got to have a balance back and forth. Who I see on this weekend or what I do for training, or everything is always balance.
So you're kind of enduring that you're still keeping up a bit of a social life, or have you just not had time for that recently?
In the last few months, it feels like I haven't had time for it, but I'm still seeing friends here and there. Obviously not the same as what I used to. Like, you can go out as much as you want. Whereas like now, I'll only go out, say, if it's like my best friend's birthday, I'll go out for her.
Yeah.
Or I'll go out for dinners, but I'm not going to go out and ruin myself on the weekend, because the recovery from it is so hard. Like, you just can't back it up with heavy training start on a Monday. You just can't do it.
Yeah. But in terms of uni, like, you're going to be taking what? How long are you going to be in Japan for? A few weeks, a month, maybe? What are you doing about uni? Are you like, you wouldn't be studying there, surely? You just kind of push it all back a bit?
Like, I hope, like, we got our exams and everything, or our assessments that are in June. So luckily, everything's for semester 1. I mean, that's good. Finishes in June. Second semester, July. I think I'll be maybe 1 or 2 weeks behind when I come back. But like, as I said at the start, my uni's been so helpful for me. They're like, do what you got to do. When you come back, we'll help you ease into it. We'll help you go into your pracs or your other work, group assignments, and, there'll be their information there to help you. So,
Are there any other kind of Olympian uni students that you know of that are going through the same things as you, just balancing uni with preparing for Olympic Games?
I know like a few other athletes, maybe like one or two. I say a few. It's just
Who are they?
his name's Liam. He does swimming. He was like another person that I coincidentally just bumped into, and he is like another professional athlete. Going for big competitions, traveling, and training load is full on. Like, to have time for other things is really difficult. So when I was able to chat with him, we were on the same page. We were able to be like, oh, how was training? Oh, it was so hard. It's like, oh, I know it was. Like, we just have that understanding for it. And then, how was uni? Oh, yeah, it's good here, there, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Now, on the flip side of the personal strengths question, it might be a bit of a tricky question to answer, but personal weaknesses. I know everyone's kind of got an area of vulnerability they want to work on. So what's something you've been working on personally outside of Taekwondo recently to improve yourself?
Oh.
If you haven't got an answer for it, that's all right. Not everyone does, but just a bit of an interesting question, I thought.
Like a personal weakness. Overthinking things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Now, a kind of question that we ask all our guests, not just Olympians, to the final question, I guess. So have you got a bit of a life philosophy or a mantra quote that you let guide all your decisions, I guess, throughout your life?
Just be happy. Yeah, that's a big thing for me. I enjoy what I do, but, finding that happiness in virtually everything you do, like, you eat, you're happy you're eating. You're training, you're happy you're training. You're listening to music, you're happy listening to this music. Everything's just enjoyment of life. So just doing what makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's good. Now, kind of last segment, I guess, the traditional last segment of the show. It's the Where Do We Begin quiz. Going to play the stinger. Jeez, and usually we don't have it playing in the studio, but it's very nice to have the little sound effects. But anyway, the Where Do We Begin quiz, it's their favourite segment of the show. Usually I'll pit the guest against Lockie and kind of go head to head on a few questions that have a loose connection to you and your career. But obviously it's just me and you, so I'm just going to be asking you questions. You're the only one that can answer it, obviously. So I've got 5 questions. How many points you can get? Are you ready to go?
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so now, obviously, Taekwondo is your sport, if people haven't realised that already. Now, do you know, this isn't the main question, but do you know why 1959 is a bit of a big year for Taekwondo?
1959? Oh, no.
Well, I can tell you, 1959 is the year in which the oldest governing body for Taekwondo was formed, the Korea Taekwondo Association. So, another thing that happened in 1959, can you name me one musical artist who had a #1 single in Australia in 1959?
The Beatles. I don't know. I just threw it out there.
The Beatles?
I've got no idea.
That's incorrect, I'm afraid. There was a few. The one that you could have got, maybe, Elvis Presley.
Oh, my God, of course.
Beatles, I think, came along a bit later.
Yeah.
Anyway, move on to question 2. So 2nd of July, your birthday? That's correct, yeah. So 2nd of July 2017, your 18th birthday, Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao on points in a highly controversial welterweight boxing title fight in Brisbane. Now, can you tell me, where is Manny Pacquiao from?
Oh, my God. Thailand.
Thailand's incorrect, I'm afraid. It's from the Philippines.
Oh,
close.
Okay.
Kind of Southeast Asia, right kind of region, in and around. But anyway, we'll go to question 3. So you went to pegs. Yeah. So I've got a bit of a question about clothes pegs. I've done a bit of investigation, deep research into clothes pegs. So clothes pegs are believed to have been first patented early by Jeremy Opdebeck and were commonly made by hand by English gypsies. So can you tell me, in what century did our old mate Jeremy patent the clothes peg? When do you reckon the clothes pegs were Jeremy kind of
I've got no idea.
brilliant idea? Throw something out there. What do you reckon? What century?
The last century.
Last century, the 20th century?
Yeah.
That's incorrect, I'm afraid. It was quite a bit earlier, 1809, 1800s. Yeah, so clothes pegs been around a very long time. Very interesting history. There's a very interesting article online. I forgot their publication, but go check it out if you're interested in the history of clothes pegs. But anyway, we'll move on to question 4. Surely we could get a point with question 4 or question 5. Fingers crossed. So Japan. Have you been studying a bit about Japan before you go there?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. But anyway, I'll ask you question 4. So obviously the capital city, Tokyo, only became the capital and was renamed from Edo in 1868. So where was the capital city of Japan before Tokyo?
I'm just going to throw it out there. Osaka? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I know what you're thinking of. It's not Osaka. It's Kyoto.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Close, I guess. Well, at least Osaka's a city in the country. Could have been the right answer, but unfortunately it's not. But we'll go to question 5, the last question. Usually we do a who am I here, but there's only one of you, only one competitor in this quiz, so we're just going to do a normal question. Question 5. So Tokyo, it's got the biggest metropolitan population in the world of any city. So I'll give you plus or minus 3 million here to get the point. What is the population of the metropolitan area of Tokyo?
Oh, God.
Biggest in the world. Oh. No, well, I'll give you plus or minus 5 million instead of 3 million.
I don't know, like 1 billion plus 4 billion.
4 billion?
I don't know, 4 billion. Yep.
I'm afraid that's about 4 billion off there. The correct answer is 37 million. About 37.5 million over there in Tokyo. But anyway, that was a bit of a tricky quiz, and it's a bit weird just doing it one-on-one. I feel like there's a bit more pressure on the competitor. But anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there. But we've actually got a new segment that I was chatting to you about before the show, the kind of song of the week. So we're going to kind of give the guests a chance to put a song on our Instagram story that they particularly like. So you're going to post up a kind of video maybe or something, a song of the week of your choosing on our Instagram story. Is that right?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, well, that'll be great. So guys, head over to our Instagram story if you want to check out Stacey's song of the week, the song of her choosing. Hopefully you all enjoy it, but I think that's just about all we've got. So thank you very much for coming on the show, Stacey Hymer. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. How good was that for a first Olympic Series episode? That was an absolute belter, if you ask me, and I'm a completely unbiased guy, so you should be asking me, really. That was an absolute corker of an episode, I reckon. Lockie, let me know if you object. Anyone else, let me know if you object. It was a ripper, I think. But as Stacey talked about at the end of the show, and as I spoke about in the intro of the show, we are going to be talking about a new feature. Stacey actually mentioned it. Our guest is going to be putting their favourite song, just kind of song that they're really vibing with at the moment, on our Instagram story at WDWB pod. Sorry, that is WDWB pod. So yeah, song of the week, a song they're really vibing out to at the moment. They're loving it. So go check us out at WDWB pod on Instagram. We're at the same handle on Twitter, and we're at Where Do We Begin on Facebook and YouTube. Check us out there. And of course, our sponsors for today. No grubby blood money going on here. Our sponsors are ourselves. We love it. You can actually buy us a coffee to support this Olympic series and to support us keeping up this quality podcast we've got going on, this awesome sound production, the awesome interviews. If you like it, go buy us a coffee. We'd love it at buymeacoffee.com/where do we begin. That's buymeacoffee.com/where do we begin. No capitals, no nothing, all lowercase, just as simple as you like. If you don't want it, you don't have to, of course, but we really would appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Got nothing else to say, really, other than see you next week for another cracker of an Olympics episode. Thank you for listening.